she gets married to her like arch nemesis. Who knows what's gonna happen? Love. I'm not afraid of commitment. I love a murder investigation. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Alexandria Loves Books. Merry Bookmas, everyone. We are, I think, over halfway through Bookmas. It's been a wild ride, but we still got a little more to go before we finish Bookmas. I just want to say this is the first video I'm filming post the LA ALS Walk and Roll to Cure ALS. That was on Sunday, December 8th, and I just want to say thank you for everyone who donated and shared my fundraising link. My original goal was $1,000. We ended up raising over $1,200 for the ALS network, and I'm so grateful. We're helping people get the care they need because it is so hard to find proper care as an ALS patient. Also just in general in this country, but specifically as someone who has ALS, or for someone who has ALS. And we're also funding this research because we need, there's a cure out there. Where is it? Let's find it, come on. So I'm very grateful for all of you and for everyone who donated to help us reach $1,200. Okay, so for today's video, we are going to be talking about the 25 books that I want to read in 2025. When I was making my list for the 24 books I loved in 2024, it was hard to actually fill up that list. This list, not hard at all. There's way more than 25 books I want to read. I have so many books that I want to read, so this was a very easy, quick list to make. I'm going to start with all of the new releases coming out next year, so I don't have a physical copy of those books, but let's talk about those first. I think I put these in like chronological order of like when they come out, but I'm not fully sure. The first one is Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. That is the third book in the When in Rome series. I don't know if there's a technical name to it, but it's When in Rome, Practice Makes Perfect, and then Beg, Borrow, or Steal. So this one is, oh my gosh, what's her name? Emily? I forget. It's one of the sisters. It's the teacher. So it's her and this guy named Jack, and they're both like feuding like elementary school teachers. Oh, and they're neighbors. They find themselves teaming up in this new rivals to lovers romance set in Rome, Kentucky. I feel like there's something about like a manuscript or like a novel that someone's writing. I don't fully know the plot, which yeah, keep in mind, I don't know much about all of these books because I haven't read them yet, okay? So these aren't gonna be the best descriptions, but of course I wanna read it. I love When in Rome, I love Practice Makes Perfect. I wanna continue the series. I believe there's gonna be 4 books in total, one for each of the siblings. I don't even know their last name, but the first book was, oh my gosh, I forget his name. Noah Walker. And then the next one is Annie Walker. This one, I believe her name is Emily. And then the fourth one, Maddie, maybe? But all of Sarah Adams' books are just so like sweet and fluffy and cute. And they're the perfect palate cleanser when you just need like a sweet rom-com. Then the next new release I'm excited for is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. That's the third book in the Empyrean series. So it's Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm. I love this series. I know it's like mixed reviews. Either you love it or you hate it. From what I've seen, I love it, okay? It's a 5-star series for me. I absolutely adore all of the books. I adore Violet and Xaden so much. I love their relationship, and I love kind of actually like the politics and like the fighting and what's going on and what they're doing without spoiling it. That's all I can really say. Third book continues where we left off, which kind of crazy ending for Iron Flame in my opinion. So I'm excited to see what happens. Also coming out next year is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I believe this is her first college romance, I think, correct me if I'm wrong. But this, I think it's about a competitive diver and an ace swimmer. They jump into forbidden waters in this steamy college romance. They make an arrangement. Ooh, as pressure leading to the Olympics heats up, so does their relationship. It's supposed to be temporary, mutually satisfying, so friends with benefits. But when staying away from Lucas becomes impossible, Scarlett realizes that her heart might be treading into dangerous water. It sounds like most college romances, but I'm here for it and I love it. And the Olympics, swimming, that's fun. Next up is Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey. This is the third book in the Big Shot series, I think it's called. So it's Fangirl Down, The Au Pair Affair, and then Dream Girl Drama. We meet these characters in The Au Pair Affair. I think their names are Sig and Chloe. Their relationship in The Au Pair Affair is really weird. Like I did not understand what was going on. They were gonna be like step siblings, but yet there was like chemistry there, and he like paid for her apartment and stuff. I was like, what is this situation? Find out they're the next book. And so they have a steamy chance encounter. He's a professional hockey player. She's described as the manic pixie dream girl that he just can't seem to forget. And then they realize that their parents are engaged. I love Tessa Bailey books. I know not everyone does. I eat her books up though. I love it. It seems like a lot of these new releases that I'm excited about are like in series, like the next one, Scythe and Sparrow by Bryn Weaver. It's the third book in the Ruinous Love trilogy, so this should be ending the trilogy. Butcher and Blackbird, Leather and Lark, and now Scythe and, am I saying that right? Is it Scythe or Scythe? Am I saying it Scythe and Sparrow? I don't know, I'll look that up. But that is the last brother. I also don't know how to say his name. Fionn? So I'm guessing, I'll also look that up. But he's, I think, a doctor, and he left Boston to Nebraska to kind of escape that life. Rose, who we've met both of these characters in previous books, she is a motorcyclist in a circus, and she broke her leg. And I didn't know how, I don't know if it was actually said in the books and I just like missed it or didn't understand it, but our description here says that she's also a serial deleter like the other characters. This is a dark rom-com series, okay? They're all serial deleters. I don't know if Fionn is, because he's a doctor, but at least Rose is. Those tropes are friends with benefits, small town romance, fish out of water, forced proximity, hurt/care, which I love, and touch her and die. Sign me up. Sign me up. And then I think my most anticipated release of 2025 is Wild Side by Elsie Silver, the third book in the Rose Hill series. So these are all single dad or single parent trope books. And so this one follows Tabby and Reese. Looks like Tabitha's nephew, which we learned about in Wild Eyes. There's some, I don't know, like custody situation stuff with her nephew because of her sister and what happens to her sister. In order to keep her son or her nephew in Rose Hill and with her and like with family, she gets married to her like arch nemesis, who we also meet in these books. He is such a grump, and like their banter and bickering and Wild Eyes is so funny to me. I love it. Like they just immediately are like snarky with each other, and like I'm so excited. I've been waiting for their story, for them to get together and then to fall in love. And so marriage kind of convenience to like help and save like her nephew. Like I'm all here for it. I'm so excited. This next one, I really do not know much about. This is Abby Jimenez's new release called Say You'll Remember Me. So there's a hot veterinarian, I don't know her story, Samantha. They go on a date, but it seems, and he seems perfect until he opens his mouth and says the absolute wrong thing. She wants to prove him wrong unless he can admit he made a mistake, and they have an incredible date, but then she's forced to admit that her family's in crisis and she just can't have a relationship right now. So she begs him to forget her, to remember their night together as a perfect moment, as crushing as that may be. Only no amount of distance or time is nearly enough to forget that something between them. And the only thing better than one single perfect memory is to make a life, and even a love, worth remembering. And there's a dog on the cover. I love Abby Jimenez's books. They are so good. I love her writing. I love the romance she writes. So I'm excited to read this book when it comes out. And then of course, Wild and Wrangled comes out in April. This is the fourth and I believe final book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. I just finished Lost and Lassoed like yesterday, which was Teddy and Gus's story, and I loved it. And I am so excited for Wild and Wrangled. This is Cam and Dusty's story. I've been waiting for them since Swift and Saddled. I'm so excited to learn more about their past, the situation with her engagement. I'm so down. It's second chance romance. They were together, I don't know when, but they were together in the past, and he's still in love with her. And then of course, obviously they parted ways, and she ended up in a one-night stand with Gus, had a child, so he's a single dad, but they like co-parent, and it's never really been a thing. And then she's engaged, and we know all about that in the previous books. So I'm so excited to like learn more about them and their story. The last new release that I'm excited about, I mean, there's probably plenty more that I'm just like not on like my top radar, but Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I love her stories so much. I love the magical realism. I love the romances. I love like the women's fiction too, because we really get the female main character's story and what she's going through in her journey. This one is about music, which I think is so fun. I don't know how to say her name. I need to look it up. Joni, I think. So she is the most coveted songwriter in LA, but she can't seem to write. There's just an emptiness to her. So she returns to her hometown in North Carolina. She hopes the sand, surf, and concerts will spark her inspiration. Nothing is how she left it. Her best friend's avoiding her. Her mother's memories are fading fast. And her family's music venue is closing. And then she hears a melody in her head, lyricless and half-formed, and alluring and addictive voice to go with it. belonging apparently to a rhyme musician with hang-ups of his own. Surely he's a figment of her overworked imagination, but then the very real man attached to the voice shows up in Vienna Shores. He's aggravating and gruff on the outside, nothing like the sweet, funny voice in Joni's head, and he has a plan. They'll finish the song haunting them both, break their connection, and hope they don't risk their hearts in the process. Because the song's stuck in their heads, maybe it's there for a reason. How fun is that? I love this magical realism stuff that she does in all of her books. It's so entertaining, it's so just different and fun and new, and I really enjoy it. I love this idea of like these two people who would just have this like song stuck in their head and they need to work on it together to be able to get it out of their systems. But like, who knows what's gonna happen? Love, that's what's gonna happen. Love, you're gonna fall in love. Those are all of the new releases that I'm excited about. The rest of them are books that I've always wanted to read. Maybe I've had on my TBR for a while and I just need to get rid of them. Not rid of them, I need to get them on the physical TBR. Get them on the shelf, you know? Get it over with. Some of these books I have the physical copy of, others I don't. The first one is Magnolia Parks. I do not own this yet. I want to read this series. Everyone loves it. Actually, okay, not everyone, but a lot of people love it. And the people that love it are like die hard for it. I've been intimidated by it because I don't really know much about the plot, but I know it's like a toxic romance. I know it's not like a, oh cute, they fall in love and everything's happy and good. I've heard it's like Gossip Girl, London, society, toxic relationship, but you love them. And I typically don't like reading about that type of stuff, but I'm just really intrigued. So I want to at least read the first book. I would love to love the series and like continue it, but obviously I don't know how I'm actually going to react to it, but I just need to read the first book and just know what everyone's talking about. I'm really intrigued. Another really popular book that I want to read is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is a YA fantasy following Peyton and Kai. I believe this is enemies to lovers. I've heard the banter is so good. I know Sarah Caroli's obsessed with them and this book and the things that Kai says and thinks, and so I feel like I'm gonna eat this up. I just need to actually like sit down and read it and get to it. So I definitely want to read this series. I know the third book comes out in April, but I really want to read this, the novella Powerful and Reckless, before April. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would really like to try to make it happen. I also want to start the Addicted Calloway series. I have read most of the Like Us series. I stumbled upon it years ago and didn't realize that it was the kids of the Addicted Calloway characters, but we meet those characters in that series, so I've like known them as like adults, like already like having all their, when their kids are adults even, and I've really enjoyed the family in this series. I only have a few books left in that series, I think. I'm really interested to learn about all of the parents and how like they fell in love and what their story is. Addicted to You, it's the first book, high on my priority list. I do plan on getting it soon. It's like a 10-book series. It's a big commitment, but I'm here for it. I'm not afraid of commitment. It feels like most of these are series because the next one is ACOTAR. Wow. I just want to know what it's about. I want to know the hype. I've never read a Sarah J. Maas book. I'm not really thinking about Throne of Glass at all right now. I want to start with this series. I think I'll like this one more, but I don't really know. I don't even fully know what this is about. Feyre kills a wolf. Creature arrives to demand retribution. Magical land she knows only from legends. She discovers her captor is not a beast, but one of the lethal immortal fairies who once ruled her world. As she adapts to her new home, her feelings for the fairy Tamlin transform from icy hostility into fiery passion. Yeah, I don't know. I'm tired of being in the unknown and I want to be in the know. Another series I want to start, the Boys of Tommen series. This is Binding 13. I got this special edition from Barnes & Noble. Like there's the sprayed edges and like the chrome. How cool is that? I love that so much. I need to know what the hype is about this series too. I obviously don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, but from everything I've heard, it seems right up my alley. I think I'll really enjoy it. So this follows what Johnny and what's her name, Shannon. I know that she has a really sad backstory. She's bullied and tortured. Johnny, I think he's like the popular guy, rugby player. They fall in love, and I think as they fall into a complicated friendship and grapple with their undeniable chemistry, hidden pain and complicated secrets threaten to be their undoing. But Johnny won't give up on Shannon, no matter what it might cost them both. I think I'm gonna fall in love with these people and this series. I know it can be a little heavy, but I'm here for it. I feel like it's a random book that I've never heard anyone talk about, but I've wanted to read it for so long, and that is Unwanted by Mia Sheridan. I really enjoy Mia Sheridan's writing. It's not like the best thing in the world to me, no, but I really enjoy it. I eat it up. Even when it's like heavy, it's still fun to me. Like I'm still enjoying myself. So this one is about Harper and Lucas. She's summoned to her small town Montana Sheriff's Office to help with a double murder investigation. I love a murder investigation. And so this really intrigued me, and I love when that's combined with like the romance. The only suspect in the case is a man cut off from civilization entirely, Lucas. The more she learns about him, the more she's intrigued. She sees intelligence in his eyes, sensitivity in his expression. Who is he really? How is it possible that he's lived alone and unwanted in the woods since he was a child? As secrets emerge and danger heightens, Harper is thrust into a plot bigger and more diabolical than she ever could have imagined, and standing at the center of it all is Lucas. It kind of like has similar energy to Archer's Voice, different, obviously, but it seems like a little bit similar. And it also reminds me a little bit of Tide by Carrie and Cole. Different, but just like similar energies in ways, so I feel like I'll really enjoy this. I also want to read Betting on You by Lynn Painter. The only book I've read by Lynn Painter is Better Than the Movies. I didn't love that book, but I did enjoy it. Like it was just a solid like 3-star read for me. I'm really interested in Betting on You, and look at that. Look at that spine. Not spine. Edges. This is the edges, this is the spine. Know your books. Know your book anatomy. So this is another YA romance. I don't know if it's enemies to lovers, but I think they get off on the wrong foot or something. Yeah. The first time Bailey meets Charlie, he is the worst. They meet at an airport or something. They end up being co-workers at like a water park or something like that. And then Charlie insists that members of the opposite sex cannot just be friends. And they're like watching this other two people at work being like, oh, I think they're gonna get together. And she's like, no, they're like his friend. And he's like, no, they can't just be friends. Things like that. And then through their bickering and playful banter, Charlie starts to develop feelings for Bailey. I feel like they end up fake dating or something. Yep. Bailey starts feeling things for him. It just seems like cute and fluffy, and I'm down. Another series I want to start is the Gold Rush Ranch series by Elsie Silver. This is her first series, so before Chestnut Springs. I think the second or third book is Violet Eaton's story, and that's the sister of the brothers. And so I'm really excited to read her story, but also like her friends' stories as well. So this one follows Vaughn and Billy. So again, small town Ruby Creek. There's the family ranch. There's a scandal attached to its name. In the wake of his grandfather's unexpected passing, he needs a win. He hires Billy to train his best, but most stubborn racehorse. She's talented and so tempting. They clash from the moment they meet, but he can't stop thinking about her. I need to read everything that Elsie Silver has ever written, and so here I am. I'm gonna read the series, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna eat this up. Now, the next few are all books that have been on my physical TBR for way too long, and I need to get them off. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This has been on my TBR for a while. It's out of my comfort zone. It's thick, and it's about Addie LaRue, who makes a deal with, I think, the devil, but I don't really know, to live forever, but no one will ever remember her. So she's like 300 years old at this point, and no one remembers her, so she's living a very lonely life. And I think I've heard it's kind of a slower pace, almost slice of life, like you're going through like the 300 years or whatever, and that just sounds boring to me. It sounds interesting, but I feel like I could get bored so easily. It will be 300 years before she stumbles into a hidden bookstore and discovers someone who can remember her name, and suddenly everything changes. So I think once we get to that point of the person that does remember her name, then I'll be a little bit more interested, but I feel like that might take a while, and that intimidates me. Another book that's been on there for a while, By a Thread by Lucy Score. I really want to read this. I think I'll love it. I'm just intimidated by the length. I've been very busy recently, and I'm just like, when do I have the time? I think in the new year, I'll have a less chaotic schedule. I'm praying to God, please hear my prayer. And then I can get to more of these thicker books. This is a workplace romance, Dominic and Allie. I think it's like kind of enemies to lovers in a way, just like they like bicker and everything. That's all I really know, but it seems really fun. Sarah Curley loves this book, and I trust her. Another one is The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. This is why I've been putting it off. This is the Campus Diary series. So this, at least the first book, follows Gigi, the child of the daughter of Garrett and Hannah from The Deal. So it's kind of like a spin-off with their kids, but I don't know if the future books are also kids from those series or if they're just other people in Gigi's life. I don't know yet because I haven't started the series. So it's hockey romance. She's a hockey player, and there's Ryder, who I think is also a hockey player. They're co-captains on the hockey team, so rivalry. I mean, they have chemistry, as they always do. So I know I'll enjoy this. I just need to read it. It is on my December TBR, so there's a chance I'll read it in 2024, but because of how crazy my schedule is this month, I don't see that happening, but I do want to read it. As well as One for My Enemy. This is also on the December TBR, but I just don't know if I'll get to it this month because of how crazy life has been. But this is modern Romeo and Juliet urban fantasy with rival witch families. The first time I tried to read it, it just required more brain power than I had at that time. So I think in the new year will be a better opportunity for me to read it. The next books are all kind of new / I don't own them. One of them is Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is the third book in the Maple Hill series, so Icebreaker, Wildfire, and Daydream. This is Henry's story. I really liked Henry in the first books. He was just like a great character and I really loved him. So I'm excited to see his story. And what's her name? Callie? No, Hallie, not Callie, Hallie. And I think she's like his tutor. He crashes her book club, so I feel like I might love her. She's a book girl. She's trying to write a novel. She's an academic superstar. Henry's having a problem in class, so she offers to help. They just need to stick to the rule book where item 4 reads, don't fall in love. Yeah, because every time I've had a tutor or I'm tutoring someone, I'm like, okay, we're gonna meet every Tuesday at 3 p.m. We're gonna bring our math book and we're not gonna fall in love, because those are the requirements to tutor. Like, who does that? Like, I don't know. But I like the series, but I'm not obsessed with it, so I can see myself putting this off. So I'm putting it on this list to like help me actually get to it. The rest of the books I do not own. There's 3 more. One is The Masterpiece by Francine Rivers. I've only read Redeeming Love by her and I loved it. She writes Christian fiction, Christian romances. They're really well done. At least Redeeming Love is so well done. I really, really love it. So I want to read more by her. So The Masterpiece, I forget what it's about. I think it's more modern day because Redeeming Love takes place in like the 1800s or something. Yeah, but it's historical. I believe this one is a little bit more modern, but I don't know when it takes place. I really don't remember much about this book. The reason I want to read this book is because I want to read more Christian romances and I really love Redeeming Love. So I'm gonna read The Masterpiece. Then I want to read Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I love The Love Hypothesis. And so in my mind, like The Love Hypothesis, Love on the Brain, and Love Theoretically are like, they're not a series, I don't think. But in my mind, they like kind of go together because they're all like STEM romances, new adult. And so I'm not too interested in Love on the Brain. I think I'd like to read it one day, but it's not high on my priority list. But I'm really interested in Love Theoretically. She's fake dating a guy, but then the romance is with her and the guy's brother, which is so interesting. Usually fake dating, it's like the people fake dating fall in love, but no, she falls in love with the brother of the guy she's fake dating. And they're all in the STEM field in some way. They might be rivals in the STEM community, I don't really know, but I want to read more Ali Hazelwood, and I want to read another STEM romance by her. And the 25th book I have on this list is Ruthless Vows by, what is her name? Rebecca Ross. This is the second book in the Divine Rivals like duology. I don't know what the official series name is, but I have been putting this book off because I enjoyed Divine Rivals. I didn't love it. A lot of people are obsessed with it. I'm not obsessed with it. I enjoyed it though. I've heard people who are obsessed with Divine Rivals say that Ruthless Vows was a letdown. They didn't like it as much. It was very much more the politics focused than the romance focused. And I wasn't too interested in like the war and politics that were going on in the first book. It was like, okay, but it wasn't anything that was like really grabbing my attention and holding it. I'm a little nervous to read this book, but I just want to read it so I can finish the duology and just know what it's about. And like, it is a cliffhanger at the end of the first book, so I do want to know what happens, but I've just been putting it off. So those are all of the 25 books that I want to read in 2025. I hope I actually read them all. I'm gonna try really hard to like focus on this list and work through it. It's definitely gonna take a lot of time, but hey, we have a whole year. Let me know what books you are looking forward to reading in 2025. Also let me know what your favorite books of 2024 are. And thank you for watching Bookmas. Happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next video.